This year has been challenging for me so far due to many tests that I had to take. And during learning for these tests, I have discovered some new ways that help me to learn faster and more effective. I thought that some of you might find these tips useful, so let's get into it. The first method I recommend is writing by hand and not on your computer. I tried cramming for the first test by writing everything down on my computer. And then I tried writing by hand on the other exam. What I found out was that the exam I took after writing everything down only on my computer was a complete failure. Even though I spent hours learning it and searching about that topic and writing it down, and making it colorful and pretty and organized and clear, none of that helped. Seriously. I got the worst grade I could. Whereas the test I took after writing everything down by hand helped me to earn an A grade. And yes, I thought that this experience might be completely individual. However, I found some researches about the exact same method, and even other people find it useful, so I recommend you try that as well. Also, as I mentioned earlier, try to write everything in your own words and make colorful systems between what you write. That makes it hard to forget. What usually happens to me when using colors systematically is that I start seeing particular texts or information. When I see the color, I highlight it with the text with it. What? I highlighted it with it. That's so hard to say, I cannot say that. Anyways, if you like productivity tips, self-development videos, or funny content, support me by subscribing to this channel. The second method I recommend is writing down as much as you possibly can in your lessons. Now, I understand that this method might not be useful for all of you, especially for uni students, but this is something that not only makes me remember things better, but also pay attention to the entire lesson. The only two disadvantages this method has is that sometimes your teacher talks so fast that you're not able to catch it. And the second one is that it takes energy, obviously. Some people say I'm crazy writing everything down, but thanks to this method I don't have to learn much, and that makes my studies easier. And you also learn what is or isn't important to remember, which is a great and useful skill to work on in your life. So the third method is the Pomodoro technique. This is a very popular method, and I'm not surprised because I'm using it myself and I can tell it's effective. I don't think there are many of you out there who have never heard about this, but simply said, it balances your focus time and rest time. You'll learn for 25 minutes and then you have a 5-minute break. There are tons of timers out there on YouTube, so I will link some down in the description. The idea of this method is that you're reaching little goals that lead to an overall success. And it also makes me happy reaching these 25-minute sessions. You get some sort of euphoria feeling after finishing it. However, if you're beginning with this method, I recommend you take at least one big break per 3 or 6 sessions, which means an hour or 2. Since you need to eat or drink, and these 5-minute long breaks are, not as long for you to cook something or go for a glass of water. If you're still watching the video, please hit the like button so that it reaches out to more people. Another way to cram faster and more effective are good old flashcards. You don't have to necessarily write every single word from a long text you're learning if you need to learn it by heart. I recommend reducing the long text you're trying to learn by only writing the key information in your notebook. Then you're going to name that particular part of the text and write that on a flashcard. And on the other side of the flashcard, only write in bullet points the key information. For example, you have to learn a long text about human anatomy. So the first thing you're gonna do is highlighting the important information. Write that information in your notebook. Then you're going to separate all that information in different parts. For example, liver and brain. When writing on a flashcard, don't write too much information on it, only keywords. If you cannot remember something from the keywords, you have the full definition in your notebook. So the first side of your flashcard would be liver or brain, and the other side would be, for example, liver is in our stomach, a digestion organ, and then you have brain in our skull, controls our body. And then, let's say you forget what body is. So you're going back to your notebook and, Oh, now I understand. The delay between finding the information in your notebook versus reading it from the back of a flashcard makes sure that you're actually thinking about the topic and not just rotating the flashcard and looking at the information. The next method that I personally love is a fake presentation. So what I do when I'm using this method is I walk around my room, I'm saying everything that I read out loud, and I'm pretending that I'm teaching somebody else. And if you realize you forgot something, you just go over your notes again and then continue with presenting. Another thing I recommend is getting enough sleep, staying nourished, and drinking plenty of water. Sometimes I learn so much that I forget about time. Sometimes I even start ignoring the fact that I'm thirsty or that I'm hungry, which obviously has an impact on my productivity without even realizing it. So then I learn for hours with barely any results. Now I'd like to share with you guys some specific apps that help me learn faster. If you're studying English, I highly recommend Cambridge Dictionary Plus. You can create your own word lists, which are basically small dictionaries with words you didn't know. And the great thing about it is that you can actually come back to them later. The app also provides some basic tests, and also some articles or vocabulary news and other stuff. Another app I recommend is Photomath. As you've probably figured out, this app is for maths. It helps you with solving most math problems. It's great for homework since it shows you the complete solutions. And if you have a blind teacher, this app is good for cheating. Not that I've ever done that. I also use an app called Forest, which helps you focus better. You basically plant a tree, and when you unlock the app when the tree grows, it dies. So you feel bad for the tree, and that forces you to pay attention to your studies. There are also some other features like buying new trees or even corals. So the more you study, the better the app gets. Alright guys, so that's it for the video. If you're new on my channel and haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do so. Have a nice day and bye!